So I use SlideBean, and it's a really great uh, tool for creating slides really quickly. I like to build my presentation as I build my slides because I'm a visual person, and it just helps me with the storytelling to see it in the slides like that. But anyway, so that's what that is. All right, so welcome. This is the Woodstock Digital Marketing Meetup, brought to you by Remote Control Live, hosted by April Weir. That's me. I'm the director of Sugar 5 Design. We are a digital marketing shop just north of Atlanta in Woodstock. And that is enough of that. Okay. What are we going to talk about? Simple means simple. We're not going into like how to do upsells and downsells and super calls to action and making your webinars evergreen and doing a summit or series or any of that. We're just going to be simple, 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 right? So these are the things that we're going to cover. Why are we doing this? What is the meaning of it all? What are the platforms you can use, or what I use? What do we use for slides? Our camera, microphone, backgrounds, background noise, and how to handle resources. So I'm going to put actually in the chat and the link to our resources, which is basically the link to the slides. And let's find the chat here. Oh, it's not going to let me do it while I'm sharing. Is it? See, you don't have to be a ninja to do this. I'm barely stumbling my way through it. Nope. Okay. So it's webinarrex.com. So webinar, another R, rex.com, like webinar recommendations, and that should forward to the slides. Don't jump ahead now. But I just wanted to set that up because I know I'm always a little slack in getting slides up. So now you have them to begin with. All right. What is the meaning of it all? So we're going to talk about tools. This tool is your big old noggin, as we would say from where I'm from, North Alabama. So why are you doing this? Not to just jump online and hear yourself talk, even though I really enjoy that. You really want to have a purpose, right? So our goal is to take people from one level of knowledge to another one. And this is kind of the very condensed version of how do you take people on that version. How do you craft a talk? How do you craft a speech? And there are more layers than this, but essentially, you need to talk to people about why do they need this information? What's the underlying emotional pain that your information addresses, right? That should be a question mark. What is your information? How is it going to fix that pain that we uncovered, and how can they take the next step in fixing that pain? So as you are when you decide that you want to talk about, let's just say you're a graphic designer and you want to talk to people about the importance of branding, let's just say. You don't want to just go and talk about the history of branding and why is that important and color theory and those kinds of things, because people don't care. They need to know why is branding important to them at this moment in time? What's the pain, right? That's underlying, right? So that pain might be something like our visual representation of our company doesn't match our culture or our values, and there's some kind of disconnect there, and that's causing frustration, right? So frustration would be the underlying emotional pain that your information is addressing, right? Then what is your information? So then maybe you have a 5-step system on how you take people from that level of frustration, blah, blah, blah. So you present that information, explain to them how that will alleviate the frustration. Then you want to tell them how they can take the next step to make that frustration go away. So maybe that's downloading a white paper, maybe that's booking a 15-minute call, right? So you're taking them from there's that, and this seems obvious saying that, but a lot of people have trouble with linear thinking, especially creatives. We are more abstract, and so sometimes it helps us to have a little bit of structure. And so using that in mind, we're going to take our own medicine, and I'm going to walk through this webinar about, using those steps, right? All right. So why is it really important that you are able to hold simple webinars? One, you need to be able to do things on the fly, right? So if an opportunity presents itself where you can step into the role of an authority, you need to be able to quickly put together a presentation. You need to be able to pivot really easily. Also, like, we're just all becoming more dependent on online educating, selling, and community building. And a lot of people are really, really starving for community, even if it's online, because they're locked in their houses. They, can't see their parents. They, everybody knows what's going on in the world right now. And so being able to connect with people over something meaningful can really not only enrich your own life, but it can increase your authority in your niche. Okay. Basically what I just said here. Hold on, let me let somebody in. Yep. What's in it for me? Yep. And also a lot of us who maybe we were depending on referrals for a lot of our business. Guess what? Not everybody's doing well. And the people that you were depending on for referrals, maybe they're keeping all that business for themselves now, or maybe they're not in contact and the leads just aren't coming in. They're just not in community. How did that happen? What's happening? I've got a ghost in the machine here. All right. So now today what we're gonna do today, just first steps information towards like holding an effective webinar. Okay. So what will you be able to take away? You'll be able to assemble your shopping list, outline your talk, and you'll be able to have greater confidence to just go with it, right? So this is really not that hard. I resisted going online and doing video for years. And although this might not be the best example of my skill set, but webinars seem to be really, really easy for me. Oh, if somebody is in, I think I know what's happening. Somebody has followed that webinarrex.com link and is clicking through, and it's moving my slides. So, lovelies, if you could just wait, no skipping ahead. All right. So I think we found a bug in the machine, right? Okay. All right. So you'll be able to outline your talk, greater confidence to host your own webinar. Okay. While you are waiting, so we're going to have a nice little shopping list if you're looking for that kind of thing. While you're waiting on your new mic or background, sketch out your talk, right? So after I'm done, and you go to these slides and you can just copy those. Basically, they're like conversation starters. What, why, what are you going to be able to do? And then you can just start sketching out what your next thing is. So like you can do it as you do your slides, just like I was doing last night when I put these slides together. Okay. So I was literally, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? What's the pain? All right. And then these are the questions again, if you wanted to take a screenshot real quick. So if you can't wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, going up. Okay. Let's talk about webinars versus virtual meetings. So a meeting would be like, where everybody's coming together. We have something to discuss. We're going to have an agenda. Collaboration is at the front, right? Whereas a webinar is more, a presenter is sharing their information, and then maybe there's Q&A at the end, but the presentation is the front and center, right? This kind of straddles a little bit of both worlds. And the reason that is, in this case, is because my preferred webinar platform is BigMarker. BigMarker doesn't have a native integration with Meetup. So I can't put the online link in the Meetup, information because it doesn't recognize it. So I've kind of moved back to Zoom, even though Zoom isn't my preferred platform for this. But so this is kind of in between a meeting, but I consider this more of a webinar. All right, let's see. Preferred meeting platforms. Zoom, everybody knows what Zoom is now, right? I mean, before the pandemic, not everybody knew, everybody's like, Zoom, what? That was like a kid's show when I was, 5 years old. Am I dating myself? Does anybody else remember Zoom? Anyway, um, the, the, that it's actually not a con that it's Meetup approved. So that's a pro. It is Meetup approved, but it has low storage. Transcriptions are harder to find. They do, if you're in the beta, I don't know if that's gone live yet, but I've been in the beta for a while, that it'll do transcriptions for you with their AI, but it's a little hard to find. I really like, for just meetings, I really like GoToMeeting. It's very reasonable. The storage limits are much higher, and for a very low price, you can get HIPAA compliance. So for people who are doing work with doctors, or maybe they're doing, wellness coaching, that's really, really important to be compliant. And I think GoToMeeting's HIPAA compliant is only like $60 a month versus like Zoom's HIPAA compliance is $175. So that's definitely a consideration. For Zoom, you can do 45 minutes for free, but if you're doing this for webinars, you're definitely going to want to record. And for recording, it's about $15 a month, which is not bad. There's not a whole lot of storage. However, for $40 extra a month, you can get their webinar platform where you can stream into Facebook, and it's pretty nice. Like I said, just for solid meetings, I really like GoToMeeting. The downside is not everybody knows or is familiar with the controls. And if I'm trying to share my screen or give somebody remote control, they're usually kind of putzing around with the panel because they're not as familiar with it as Zoom is. Webinar platform. Simple start, Zoom. Just do a Zoom meeting, put everybody on mute, record your screen, and it's fine, right? If you want to stream live into Facebook, or you want to do something like that, then you want to spring for the extra $40 a month. But you can just upload the recording later, right? You don't have to be all things to all people all the time when you're first starting out. I love BigMarker. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I love BigMarker for webinars. I mean, it is crap for meetings, right? So they have little meeting rooms, like perpetual meeting rooms. The audio is not good for that. And there's something about like how they've allocated the resources between the webinar feature and the meeting room. It's just not, and I could say that's how it was a year ago. It might be amazing now, but for webinars, it's fantastic. You can do calls to action. You can, do slide in announcements. I mean, it's amazing. And really the pricing for it is not bad. So I was lucky. I got this on a lifetime deal, I don't know, 2 years ago, maybe. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but even the monthly. So for example, when I did the remote control summit, I did a lot of the sessions through BigMarker. Now, if I wanted to do a bigger one, I could have just, got basically rented BigMarker for a month, done everything, got my, sessions done, and then shut it back down. One of the great things about BigMarker is you can upload pre-recorded webinars, run them as if they were live. You could do them. I mean, I probably wouldn't do that. I don't know, I might in the future, but that's just kind of not a part of what I do right now. But you can upload them, do them on demand where someone can, I know you've seen that, like next webinar starting in 5 minutes, you could do something like that. You can actually take payments and have like a series of videos, like almost like a mini course. And you can do that all inside BigMarker, which is really, really cool. As kind of like an all-in-one provider, that is my number one. And I want to stop right here because I did not put this in the notes, but I want to talk about a few things you want to have on hand before your webinar starts, because I'm about to use them. Cough drops. You always want to have cough drops on hand because you never know when you're going to get all stuffed up. You want to have your drink, and you also want to have it open so you don't sound like you're cracking a Schlitz after a day of working on the road crew. All right, but anyway, so that's that. Okay, slides. Google Slides, the best for simple starts, easy to get started, free. I like Slide Bean. Slide Bean's so easy for me. It like pre-populates my slides with a theme, like a color theme, and I can choose. They've got a bunch of different palettes that you can choose from, and then every time like I duplicate a slide, it duplicates it in the next color in the pattern, which I think is really cool. So it has, I've been using it for a couple of years, and it has just made it so easy for me to just jump up and just spin up a presentation. I have probably, I don't know, 15 of these in my account now. And then I can go back and let's just say I want to reduplicate one, like maybe I want to do this next year, but I want to freshen it up a little bit. I can just duplicate it, change the color palette, go in there and edit. Super easy. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So cameras. Um, who's using their laptop camera? Anybody? Totally fine if it works. Yeah. I'm not being able to see all the chat, so hold on a second. My laptop camera is awful. I mean, it's terrible. This is the one I'm using right at this moment. As you can see, I've almost been using it for 4 years. And this, I took the screenshot last night. It was $55, but normally I think they're like running low on supply because usually it's like 35. And it has, I have a separate microphone, but this has a microphone through it that's actually pretty good. So $35. I've got light coming in from my window. I don't have a professional light setup. I mean, I've got a ceiling fan going right now. So there's really a lot of us put these huge barriers up. I've got to have this DSLR. I have to have a professional lighting kit. I have to have this. I have to have that. You really don't. I mean, if your laptop is webcam is garbage like mine is, then you can just get, I mean, $35. Worst case scenario right here, $55 for a decent webcam that gives, I've done a lot of video on this over the last few years, and it's still it's not showing any signs of glitching. So, and for those of you who really want the screenshot, there you go. That's the exact one that I use. Microphones. You don't have, I mean, obviously, the better your microphone is, the better your audio quality. But people, okay, so I used to be a coach for someone who was a pretty prominent podcaster who was like an audiophile. And one time I was like, is this audio okay? And he's like, that's literally the last thing I think of when I come to our sessions, because that's not the value I'm getting from this is not the crystal clear audio, right? So we have to remember, like, we're providing value to people. If they can understand us, that's great. If not, that's a problem. But don't let this be, a stumbling block. I started off using this headset. When I got it, it was like $13, right? It's not the best in the world, but it's clear and you're able to hear and speak. And that's really what we want. Then when you get a little bit, if you want to move up a little bit, this is what I'm using now. I had horrible experience with it because I wasn't using it correctly. I actually had to go do a YouTube video because everybody talks about, oh, Blue Yeti is a great microphone, but if you know how to use because it's a little complicated with the dials, and I actually had it pointing the wrong way, which is kind of dumb, but anyway. But I love this microphone. You can see I bought this in 2016. I've been using it, I mean, quite a while. It's great. It's a solid piece of equipment. And if you set it up correctly, you will get some good audio. And that's the way they do the product names on Amazon is ridiculous, but this is the actual product name for the one that I have. Is it the best one? I don't know. It works for me. I understand it now. There are everybody who's been doing this for a while swears by whatever microphone they're using. I like this one. I also like that it's black. I just think it looks cool. So there you go. Backgrounds. Let's talk about backgrounds. Not to call anybody out, but I've had a guest or two that have not had professional backgrounds. And what I mean by that is I don't need to see your laundry. All right, that's ugly. I shouldn't say. Okay, so, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like if you wouldn't want your boss, or if you were interviewing for a job, what would you have behind you, right? So that's just really, if it's your actual room, it just needs to be tidy, Like I used to have my desk face the other way, and I had a chaise and, just like a regular room. But I got stressed out about like my kid would come in here and like mess the room up before my calls, and so I flipped it around. I got this. This is like a silk screen that I just got from Amazon. It was $15. They've got all different kinds of patterns. They have like wood grain. I mean, I've got like just a gray wall behind me, but it's like an eggshell, so it reflects light a little bit too much. You can also get a green screen. Those they're easy, I guess, but they make your hair look funny. Okay. And if nobody has told you that and you're using one, your hair looks funny. Okay. Stop it. I don't have any opinions. But yes, but also you can get paper backgrounds that you can just tack up with like thumbtacks, or even like a screen. And it's super easy. And one of the things I like about this is I got two of them. I have an office that in Woodstock that I've kind of converted into like a little recording studio. You literally don't know where I am because it's a seamless experience. If I'm here, if I'm there, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so just any kind of background, even if it's your room, just kind of think about, even maybe screenshot yourself through your camera and just, look at it and like, is this how I want to present myself? Background noise. Can y'all hear that my kid is in the next room blasting cartoons and playing his ukulele? Can anybody know that? You can't hear that, right? Crisp. Crisp is your best friend, especially if you've got loud neighbors, people who, yard workers who show up at random times. So it's free for like probably what most people would use it for. It's $5 a month. I mean, honestly, it's probably to me the best thing since sliced bread when it comes to doing webinars. I mean, it's just really kind of amazing what it will filter out. Go on there, play around with some of their demos and see, like, especially if you take meetings. I'm not a lot of us take meetings in coffee shops anymore, but if you're outside and there's like just ambient noise, Crisp is amazing. It really is. Now it's not great for if you're going to do podcasts and things that are solely audio, because it kind of cuts the highs and lows out a little bit too much. But especially for those of us who are at home with kids, it's like, I mean, it has really probably, saved my kid a restriction or two from being, because I'm like, be quiet. Now I'm just like, whatever, just stay out of the room. There we go. webinarrex.com. So resource list. And I'm usually kind of funky on this. I don't always follow through on that, but it's always nice to have a place for people to go. If you don't have like today, I'm not selling anything, right? So I don't have a big call to action, but my call to action would be go to the slides, make sure that, you can grab those, screenshots that you need. But what I like to do is I like to just buy a cheapo domain and slap it on there, right? It's $9.02 with tax at Namecheap. Now, some people that might be too much. You can always put like, this is like the naked link. I could put that through Bitly, right? If it was really just a matter, if I was really wanting to be cheap and I just wanted something that was short, but I like knowing that I can just say the domain and people can write it down, right? Because people they're distracted and maybe they don't have time to grab the link or whatever, but you can just say, hey, it's webinarrex.com. And you can just go and they can go get that. Or, have you ever seen a link tree for like that people put in their bio on Instagram? You could do and I actually was going to do this, but I ran out of time. You could do a link tree, but just with your resources, like especially if any of your resources you're an affiliate for. Like if I was an Amazon affiliate, I could have put my Amazon links in there for the camera and the microphone and all of that. So that's actually, I think, a really great thing to do. And that is the end of my part. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. And so now, Catherine says, wouldn't a directional mic work best? Yeah, I had a great printer and some existing printable stickers that I use, but I want a professional banner. Yep. Actually, Blue Yeti can be a directional mic. It has 4 different settings. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's got 4 different ways this mic can be used. So right now I'm using it as directional, pointing towards me. Am I doing it perfectly? Probably not. Can you hear me? Yeah. I mean, that's really my point, is that this is how to get started, right? Don't worry about it being perfect. Just do it. I mean, I'm not a professional webinar doer person. What would that be? A webinarista? I don't know. But I've been able to help a lot of people and get a lot of information out just by just doing it. Kat, you said you have a C615. Yeah, so if you have a microphone you love, just pop it in the comments here. All right, anybody have any questions? Here, anybody? PowerPoint? Yeah, I'm not a fan. PowerPoint, I'm not, I think I just completely rejected Microsoft is what happened. And I went fully in on Google Google, I do, docs, sheets, slides, whatever. I mean, slides are okay, but I'm so in love with Slide Bean, it's gonna be really hard to get me on the slides. I've done it once, but only because I was sharing it with a ton of people. So anybody else? Questions? Everybody made it in up. One person's waiting. We do all 4 events. You're late.
April,
April,
can you tell us like a list of all the pieces of software you used when you did the summits?
Yeah. Hold on. I got a cough. Hold on a second. Mute myself. Okay. So I used Hey Summit as the summit platform. It's very reasonable. And I'm a LTD queen, so I got it on lifetime deal years ago. But I used that. I used VuePlayer, which is now Spotlighter, and I used them to manage. So we did a blend of live and recorded. And I highly recommend that because I feel like, especially one person running a summit, it's a lot to coordinate, right? And if you've got, let's say they're all live, you're still with one person while you're needing to basically mic up the next person. So just from a logistical standpoint, I think a blend is better, but also, oh, I see you, Matt. But even just like for managing complexity, right? So if someone's already recorded their thing and their internet goes out, then that's not that big of a deal, right? So you're kind of bringing the complexity down. But I really liked doing the blend, the recorded, but streaming it live into Facebook, and then having the presenters coming and going live in the Facebook for Q&A. And I think that's something that we've done differently than pretty much anybody else I've seen doing summits. And I think it gave us a more sense of continuity throughout the day. So I used Restream to stream the videos. So I had videos in 3 places. So I had videos in VuPlayer, I had videos in Publitio, and I think I had some in pCloud too, because there was no way I was going to lose a video. And then I also had videos loaded into Restream, and at a point in time, Restream would stream the video live into Facebook, the same time that it was synced up to play in Hey Summit. So it was a little, pulling levers here and there, but it worked nearly flawlessly. I mean, I was really surprised. I mean, I was very stressed out the first one, and honestly quite surprised that nothing went off the rails. but yeah, so we use VuPlayer, Publitio, and pCloud as video backups, and then I gave some of my speakers, I gave them access to those in case I lost internet, right? Because I was the only person like running it. So I would make sure that like a couple of people had access to the whole system. So in case I went down, the whole thing didn't go down. So hold on a second. Sorry, I have allergies, not the corona. But I have asthma. Let's see, what else did we use? We used Restream was really good. That worked really well. BigMarker. The only thing that happened when I did all the live ones in BigMarker, and at the time, BigMarker didn't stream on Hey Summit, and so people had to click through to go. They've now fixed that integration. But I think that that's a great system. BigMarker's really, really great. Now, my limit was 100 people, but it's 100 people in the room. So I think at one point I had 120 registrations, but 80 people showed up, right? So you're never going to get 100%. In fact, Hey Summit says that you should probably expect 5 to 10% people to show up. We had 20 to 60% show up. So really having that community around the summit, I think really helped us. Yeah. What did you, if you had $1 for every time, yeah, we'd all be millionaires, wouldn't we? Did that answer your question, Melanie? I know I kind of went off on some rabbit trails. Cool. Oh, Christina Hawkins. Christina, you still there? Did I make you wait too long? Awesome. So yeah, I think you can really do a lot. I mean, I was really surprised. I was able to pull off almost that entire thing with just lifetime deals I bought off Epson. I mean, so, and I may have done it primarily because I was getting a lot of, flack from my friends for all my lifetime deals. I'm like, well, I'm going to show you what I can do. No, I'm just kidding.
I get that too. I'm like, And I always said, well, I had this lifetime deal.
Yep. My latest one, I bought Swipe Pages, and I was actually going to use that for the resource list, but I just didn't get enough time to do that today. But yeah, it doesn't take a lot to create good videos, decent videos on a regular basis, and build your, and for me, it's more like just being in communities because I'm not really selling anything. I just really want to be a part of the community and be of service. And so this is just the way I do that. And I am improving over time. So my videos now are much better than they were, before, but it kept me out of doing video for a long time because I was like, well, what am I going to look like? What if I sound funny? What if blah, 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 So, and doing the summits really pushed me into it. And us being online, because right now WordPress is saying that we shouldn't meet in person, at least until the end of the year. I don't know what they're going to recommend, so either I have to shut my Meetup down or, we have to do this online now. So, yeah. Oh, all right. Well, that's all the questions. Anybody else have one? Because we're gonna go on with our day, and apparently turn off notifications doesn't do that for Slack. But that's also something to think about. Turn off your notifications when you're sharing your screen, because you do not want. Let me tell you what happened one time. I was on a client call with somebody, and that wasn't my client, it was their client. We were on a call, and I messaged the guy something snarky in Slack, and it popped up on his screen, which he was. I mean, not nice. So also, April, don't say things that you don't want the whole world to see, right? Jesus doesn't like that. Okay. So, yes, that will teach me. That will absolutely, I will never, ever do that again. But anyway, it was a pleasure to be with y'all today. If y'all don't have any more questions, then I will see you later.